Okay, testing, 1, 2, testing. Here we are. It is week 3. Welcome to our Zoom room. Looks like I'm the only one here right now. I've been on a while. I just started the recording, so sorry about that. Anyway, we're going to get into a presentation a little bit. I want to talk about where we've come so far. I won't keep you on here very long today. I need to get out myself, so I'll promise this will be easy and quick for you. It gets a little bit deeper this week, though, so I will don't necessarily want to go into it on this class live too deeply. I'll trust the presentations and our discussions and my feedback through the week. I might provide a couple of extra videos myself, although the videos that are provided are very, very helpful to you. I do hope and pray that in addition to the textbook, that you are paying close attention to the, I think we call the Explore tab, which is the first thing in the week. The videos that are there, especially for this course, statistics for the social sciences, are actually very good. So I don't want to step on their toes by any means, because I don't think that I could really improve on what they've provided for you in those sort of professional videos that the college has either produced or sought out on YouTube for you. So I won't say much more than that about that. Okay, we got to share screen a little bit here. Oh no, if I can go ahead, let me see. Okay, so I mean, we get into a lot. This week does, maybe that's just me thinking the first couple of weeks weren't too heavy. If you haven't been introduced to this at all, maybe it was a little bit heavy for you. However, the discussions and your assignments that you've been producing, you've certainly been holding your own. I know that some of you are like, statistics, but and I don't claim that it's been easy, and I don't claim that you've been right on target 100% of the time. But based on everything that anyone would take a look at this, there isn't anything to panic about. I know that you've had to apply yourself, and there's no doubt about that. Nevertheless, you have been equal to the task, as tough as it may have been for you, and maybe for some of you not so much. Those who really enjoy math may have had a little easier time with it, or maybe not. Some people claim, statistics really aren't math. They are math, a branch of mathematics. Certainly we're using numbers and we're using formulas and we're doing operations like dividing and looking at percentages and things such as that. So if you are comfortable with math, it's going to be a little easier. But that's not to say if you enjoy math, if you enjoy algebra or arithmetic or things such as that, statistics is a little bit different language. It's like the difference between, I don't know, like Portuguese and Spanish. So, or maybe even more so, because we use some different terms and things like that. So you have to kind of get used to that. And so we're doing well. But this week it's a little bit different. There's no reason to panic about it. Take your time, step by step. Pay close attention to the videos, and watch the videos as many times as you need to. I certainly would watch them a couple of times. I would watch them the first time, and then kind of walk away a little bit. You won't even be conscious of it or cognizant of it, but that's how our brain works. When we learn something, we need a little rest in between, and go back and review that video again, and do a little reading and try some things. So it'll start to make a little bit more sense to you, and I believe that it will. So and again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I could spend 4 hours going over these things and do nothing but confuse you, and probably me too, to be honest with you. But I do want to talk about what it really means to you. Okay, so we're going to talk about descriptive and inferential statistics. Okay, so those are the two basic types, sort of, if you will, in a survey statistics course. Sorry about that. Statistics course. You should kind of know that when you come out. So what does that mean? Okay, descriptive statistics. Pardon me. Try that again. Descriptive statistics. Thank you. And inferential statistics. Descriptive really is the basis. It just kind of tells you what you got with the data. You can describe the data. I surveyed 100 college students. I found out that 98 of those 100 college students don't like statistics. I found I'll tell you this, of the 100 college students that I surveyed, it was a random sample. And you'd give the age between, say, 18 and 23, maybe if it was traditional students. 45 of them were female, 55 of them were male. Their race, demographics, those kind of things, was it at different colleges? And you just come up with that, and that's you describing what you did, simply like that. So inferential statistics gets ahead, okay? So it's a little bit deeper and gets a little bit more into the art of it. So that's where I can even kind of challenge you. So you tell me what you've done. You describe the research that you've done, the survey that you've done, and then you're going to tell me that from that you're going to infer. Okay, that's where inferential comes from. Infer or prognosticate or postulate. I'm going to infer that 98% of college students don't like statistics. Well, that may or may not be true. Where all of your the college students you surveyed, of the 100 you did, which wouldn't be a very big sampling anyway, but if you surveyed of those students you surveyed, if all of them were philosophy majors, well, no surprise. If all of them were psychology majors, maybe a few more might like statistics. If all of them were American literature students, that wouldn't really prove much to me. That would prove maybe that most English literature students and philosophy students don't like statistics. But what if of those 100, they were math students? Well, hang on a second. That doesn't quite add up. So we have to look at that. So what can you actually infer from the description you're giving me? Are they because people who do like statistics are math students, finance students, perhaps even architectural students, accounting students, if you will. So this gets a little tricky here. That's why my first class, and probably about every class I've heard, and now you're hearing me say it to you, that there are three kinds of lies, and I won't say exactly what was said to me. There are lies, and then there are really bad lies. That's not what was the way it was framed to me. Lies, really bad lies, and then worst of all is statistics, because we can manipulate these to make it look like we're inferring something that we really should not be inferring from the sample that we took. Here we have it. Descriptive statistics are statistics used to summarize and describe a set of data for a variable. So now I got this data here, so I'm going to describe it to you. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'll tell you what I did. Okay. Now, inferential, you see, those are procedures used to test hypothesis and draw conclusions. That's what I was saying before about using these words. Okay. So if I, using my example of the 100 college students surveyed about statistics, my hypothesis might be college students don't like statistics. Hard to say that today. College students don't like statistics. And again, so I'm going to test this hypothesis. Well, I better have some pretty good data if I'm going to, be very careful. Like, who am I going to test this against? Okay. Nothing in life is certain. I wanted to mention this just right here. This is an aside for you. Okay. I'm going to read this slide to you. Nothing in life is certain. In everything we do, we gauge the chances of successful outcomes. That's from business to medicine to weather. Sometimes people say there's scientific proof. People say it all the time, in fact, even learned people. There are no scientific proofs. That's what this is kind of talking about. We can say there's a high probability, and that's what this is talking about. There's a high probability that it's going to rain. There's a high probability that penicillin will cure your cold. or your flu, if you will, or your virus, I guess. And even in business, which is somewhat of a science, there's a high probability that a Dairy Queen on this busy street corner in South Florida will do very well. We don't know for sure. There could be other variables. What other variables are there? Are there 6 other ice cream stores within a 4-block radius? Probably none of them are going to do very good on their own then. What is, and thinking of business, what is the income, the SES of the people around? Is it very, very low? Where, which that actually, for other reasons, may not hurt a Dairy Queen, because we find in social sciences, where income is very low, people aren't necessarily wise with their spending, and they will, go out for ice cream rather than, either skip it or buy a gallon of ice cream from the store. Or is the income level very, very high, where that also may impact it in a negative way if it's very, very high, because people wouldn't frequent a Dairy Queen on, say, on Palm Beach necessarily. Okay, so we want to go for that sort of adequate disposable income. So again, I'm saying all that to say this: we don't have any proofs. We don't have any statistical proofs, or any scientific proofs. We have mathematical proofs, and there's another kind of proofs. But anyway, we don't have any scientific proofs. Okay, a probability provides a quantitative. That means a number. When you see the word quantitative, it kind of means a succinct number. A quantitative description of the chances or likelihoods associated with various outcomes, whatever they may be. Again, likelihoods or chances. In other words, we say there is an 80% chance. Okay, that's the quantitative description. There is a 95% chance that a student that you talk to about statistics will not appreciate the conversation, if you will. Hope that's making sense. What this does is it provides a bridge between descriptive and inferential statistics. That's probability. Okay, so when I have that quantifiable or quantitative description, that's kind of the bridge between my descriptive, which I'm describing. Remember, my descriptive is I'm describing the data that I've gathered. Who did I survey, or how did I get this information? Did I observe it? Did I do surveys? Did I do tests? Whatever that might be. Remember that, okay? So that's the descriptive. Then inferring, okay, when I say there's an 80% chance. So then the inferential statistics we'll get into, okay? All right. I'm not crazy about these examples. So yeah, we use graphs and numerical measures for probability to describe data sets which are usually samples, okay? Okay, how often using relative frequency? Okay, as the n gets larger, okay, so that's the number, that's the group size. Okay, so how often is relative frequency? The sample is the population, and the relative frequency is the probability. Does that make sense? That's just giving you some. I like this slide. I didn't like the other slide that much. I like this. Basically, yeah, sample just means the population or the group. Another sort of more informal way to put it. And the relative frequency, okay, that means how often it happens, is the probability that it's going to happen. Okay, so then we can have an experiment. Okay, so that's the process by which an observational measurement is obtained. So let me see where we're going. Let me see. An event is the outcome of an experiment. Okay, so so when an experiment is performed, a particular event either happens or doesn't. So let me give you something that hopefully will kind of clear. I shouldn't say necessarily clear it up. Maybe it is very clear to you. But I'm going to give you a real experiment. This was done, and I talk about this one all the time. And Robert Cialdini, one of my favorite social psychologists, talks about this all the time. Okay, so believe it was Harvard Business School, years and years ago, a couple of decades or more ago. They wanted to find out how, if there was a way to persuade people, if there were any words you could use to persuade people. So they tried different things. And what they found out was that the word because would oftentimes persuade someone or influence someone to let you cut in line while waiting in line to make copies. Now we have more copiers now and different things and what have you and scanning. This experiment was done when copy machines were sort of at a premium. There were, in an office building, there may have been a copy machine just on one floor or two floors. So everyone had to use that big copy machine, and there would oftentimes be a line to make copies. And of course, while you're standing in line to make copies, you're not really very productive just waiting in line, standing there for the most part. So there was an experiment conducted, and they discovered that the word because would allow people would get in. So they tried some experiments. So and again, I'm not getting into this. You can look this up. The experiment was, okay, I'm going to say, do you mind if I get in front of you to make copies because? And they said, they gave them a very, because I've only got a couple, or because my boss is in a hurry. Very good answers, okay, or very good reasoning, if you will, okay? And they found out that if you use the word because, you could get in, people would let you in more often, not 100%, but more often. If you didn't use the word because, they didn't. May I get in front of you? I'm in a hurry. That didn't work as well as, may I get in front of you because I'm in a hurry. May I get in front of you because my boss needs these? No. May I get in front of you? My boss needs these. Not as effective as, may I get in front of you because my boss needs these? So now they tried these different things. That was the experiment. That was the social psychological experiment. They tried it. So they set it up like an experiment you would do like in a lab, except this was in a social science lab or in a copy room. So they had some people use the word because, some people not use the word because, and I think another group just says, may I get in front of you? Okay. So now we had some data, right? We can describe the data. Okay, the data says that this group that used the word because was able to cut in line like 68% of the time. The group that didn't use the word because, but at least asked, was only allowed to cut about 12% of the time. And the group that just said, I get in front of you was like 3% of the time. I'm not sure about the numbers. So that is the outcome of the experiment. So now I describe this experiment. So I can describe that. I can also sort of make some predictions. If I use the word because, I will be allowed to influence people, not only to get in front of them for making copies, or perhaps borrowing money from them, or getting some change from them. May I have 75 cents because I'm short, I need to buy a soda. May I have 75 cents to buy a soda? Two different things. So we've made all kind of predictions, if you will, about this word because, and there've been other things that they've done with that, and I hope that is kind of clear to you. All right, and it kind of makes some sense when we're talking about experiments. I'm going to go ahead and then we get into, and this gets into some things that are kind of tight and that predictions and things like that. That might make more sense to you, or the actual social science experiment might resonate more with you as your social science majors. So I'm gonna stop it here. I'm not gonna beat you to death. I do really, because I don't want to take a lot of time away. I want you to watch your videos, read the textbooks, and apply yourself to the assignments. Now listen, I got a message from one of your learners a little while ago, having a hard time with last week's supply. Turn it in. If you're having a hard time with it, if you don't turn it in at all, it's really hard for me to help. If you turn it in and it's not okay, I can give you feedback to get you maybe on track. But if I don't know where you're missing, it's hard for me to help you. So even if you're struggling, turn it in. If it's really bad, I'll give you another chance at it. Otherwise, you'll grade it, we'll move on. I want you to understand, I do appreciate that not everyone feels this way, but some of you in this course, and like other courses too probably, but in this course of statistics, getting it right now, statistics, It's a little bit intimidating for some, okay? I'm approaching this, understand this, with a very important growth mindset. You come in where you're at. No two people are probably exactly in the same place. Probably some of you are vastly different. But I'm not trying to beat you down here. Wherever you're at, we're going to grow. Take a step, take a step, take a step, take a step, and you're going to move on and move on, like we all had to do. So don't be intimidated. We're going with, and you may have heard, maybe familiar with this term, growth mindset. So that's what I want you to come in here with. I'm not here to judge you. I do have to grade you. I get that. And I can't just give everybody a passing grade if you're not having a good grasp of the material. That wouldn't be fair to you or anybody else. Okay. So that's not what we're doing, but I'm not here to beat anybody down or anything like that. So we're going with a growth mindset. That's just the mentality you have. But wherever I'm at, I need to learn more and more and more, little bit by little bit by little bit. And I'm going to go with that for the for our secret word, if you will. So watch this on the recording. If you do, and you want to get your extra credit points for the Zoom room, the term is growth mindset. I'm going to end it there. I'll let you guys go. I do thank you for tuning in and watching this on the video. And stop share. There we go. And I will see you in the course room.